Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I have a tutorial on the classic kind of library pocket, and I'm going to show you guys how you can do it with pretty much any size that you kind of want, especially when you have a lot of scraps. So just in front of me, I just have some examples of library pockets that I have purchased, and I realized how easy they are to make. So these top ones here are just the Maggie Holmes ones. If you have double-sided paper, even better. If you don't, does not even matter. So really simple. I'm sure everyone knows what a classic library pocket looks like by now, or we've purchased the number of them, and you know, you can do little inserts. So, and here are some by Hampton Art that I picked up from Michael's a while back. All right, so now guys, as for the supplies, you can have as minimal supplies, or if you like have a lot of tools and whatnot, you can utilize those too. So firstly, this is if you are a new crafter, beginner crafter, you don't have many tools, grab a good sharp pair of scissors, some adhesive. It could be liquid, it could be your glue tape, it could be a glue stick. You just probably would need like some clothespins to pin it down to stick. This is optional, having a corner rounder if you want to round the corners of your library pocket, and also if you want to put like a little what do you call this, like a notch later, having a circle punch, 3/4 of an inch to an inch around that. And so yes, those are, oh, and a ruler, of course, a good old ruler, and something to score with, whether it's a bone folder or a popsicle stick, something like that. Okay, and then if you are someone who has a lot of tools, I love using my envelope punch board. Makes things super easy. A paper trimmer, and a good old scoreboard. So those are the supplies that you're gonna need. Next, you're going to want to find your scrap piece of paper, or whatever piece of paper you're wanting to make the library pocket with. Now, the important part, because I'm sure we all have strips of paper like this sitting around after you've trimmed down like a 12 by 12 or an 8.5 by 11. Keeping in mind like the height of the paper, and I say that because say you have a scrap like this, if you fold it, it makes, I mean, it does make a pocket, but it's an awkward kind of size pocket unless that's what you want to fit in your book, right? So just keep in mind you've got some of that height to fold. I want the little cats on this paper to be facing upwards. So like if I fold it over, that's upside down. So just keep in mind, right, how you're going to be doing that. So there's that. All right, so now that you've chosen your paper, what you need to do is decide how big of a gap. I usually say leave about, I don't know, 1.25 inches. And this is where I really don't care about having like, oh, measurements. I like my cutting board and the grids and whatnot. You could totally bust out your ruler. You could bust out your scoreboard here at this point to make sure the edges, everything's aligned. But I pretty much just eyeball it, you know. So once you have that down, I'm just gonna move it up for you guys a bit to see. I'm gonna fold it down here. You know, you could totally use your bone folder, fold it, whatever, and just make sure it's somewhat even. And then you're going to unfold it. And so then you're gonna see that there is a folded line. Now at this point, whether you're using your scissors or a paper trimmer, which I'll be using, you're gonna grab your paper and you're gonna cut like little triangles on the edge here. I'll show you guys because there's no way I can explain that. I pretty much, so I find where my folded line is, I line it up with the center of my punch board. Once you have that down, you're gonna punch, and this is where you're gonna get, like, that's not exactly where the center is, but it'll work. So do you get what I mean by you're gonna cut out little triangles? So whether you had the punch board or not, as long as you've got some triangles there. So this is what it should look like at this point. Okay. The next step you're gonna do, at this point, I like to use my scoreboard, but if you don't, again, you can bust out a ruler. And I'll tell you why I like to use the scoreboard. Okay, so you see where the notches are made. You're going to want to score, and sometimes it totally is easier with a ruler. You're gonna want to score from the edge of your little notch or your triangle, like at the tip of it, because you're going to fold down on it later, and I'll show you guys. So this is what I mean by there's no exact measurement because it all depends on your triangle, whether you're cutting it bigger or smaller or whatever. So you do that on both sides. So this is what you get, right? It just meets right at that edge. So what you do from here on is, I like to, you don't have to, but you can fold it inwards because it's the back. So this is the front. The shorter piece is the front and the longer piece is the back. So you're gonna fold that or not, as long as you kind of have a line there. Here you could use your paper trimmer or scissors for this part, you guys. It just depends on my mood. I really am not a stickler for having perfect edges or anything. So I just, as long as you have sharp scissors, I grab my scissors and I just cut along that line. But you're only cutting the back, you guys, not the front. So you've scored the front, leave the front, the back, that's where you're gonna be cutting off what you've scored. Like, I mass produced this, and then it's of course, when I do a tutorial, it's so awkward, you know? So then this is what you are left with. And that is the back, here is the front. And that's what you're gonna have. At this point, I will, you know, you could have fold them all at once. It doesn't really matter. It's just having the front unfolded kind of just reminds me not to cut. So that is what you're gonna have. And the reason why we cut so closely to the edge of that little triangle or notch is to give it a nice edge to fold down on. So for me, I know the back, the cats are upside down, but that's not what I'm concerned about because it's the front that I'm gonna be adhering down on in a journal or whatever. So at this point, grab your adhesive, whatever it is. I don't know, I'm just gonna use some tacky glue. Just a little bit, goes a long way with the stuff. down. This is what I mean by like if you're using a glue stick, tacky glue's pretty good, but if you're using a glue stick, it might take a while to dry up. So not dry up, but to hold. I might pull out some clothespins at this point just to, yeah, hold it down. So while that's drying, I like my corners rounded. Now, if you have the envelope punch board, you can use the tops, the rounder up top. Or if you have your own corner rounder, like not your own, but you know what I mean, a separate one, you can do that at this point. So you know what I mean, but if this was double-sided paper, it'd be super cute too. So I have my corners now rounded. Just let me fix up this side. So there is that. Now, here you can see in an example I've made here with double-sided paper. It looks super cute. I do like that little notch. So I'm going to add one in. You don't need to. It's totally preference. You can bust out decorative scissors and cut along the edge before adhering it down. And I will have a second tutorial on showing you guys how to do a scalloped or pinking edged library pocket. So here is my rounder, and I love the like majority of these rounders. Actually, to be honest, I don't think I've ever seen one without. It gives you on here, there's like a midsection, and on both sides it points that out, so it's nice and easy. So you just kind of pull it up to where the midsection is on both sides. I just eyeball it. Again, if you're a stickler for measurements, measure each side out just to make sure that it's even Steven. So I've got that kind of centered to me, whatever. And like centered on both sides, and then centered on the edge there. And then punch, and voila, you've got your little notch. I don't even know, is it called a notch? Maybe I'm making that up, who knows? So that's pretty much it, you guys. I've got my pocket. I can decorate it. I'll show you guys some samples I've made. Here is a Halloween one with the rosette. And again, right, like shorter piece of paper makes a shorter pocket. This here with the double-sided, how fun, you guys. And then you just embellish it as you like. Here, like, again, it's a bigger one. It's a wider one. Embellish it, load it up with goodies, send it as flat mail. Really easy peasy. Save your money. Use up your scraps. And yeah, guys, that was my little tutorial on library pockets. I hope that was easy to follow. If you have any questions, please leave them down below. Again, I'm new at the whole tutorial thing. It's something I'm getting used to. I know it's been highly requested from my subbies, so I'm trying, you guys. Stay tuned. I do have, it's going to be like my little pocket series, a tutorial on the like money style envelopes, those pockets, and then the scalloped edge pockets, which I'm like trying to find an example to show you guys. Right here. These scalloped edges. So stay tuned for that. That's coming up. Anyhow, guys, thanks so much for watching. Happy crafting. Bye now.